swagger, okay? Regardless of what happens out there. Doesn't matter. Keep your swagger.
Welcome, everyone, to the Five Hole Fantasy Hockey Podcast, the Fantasy Hockey Podcast, followed by the Florida Panthers Twitter account. We're your hosts tonight, Jay and Alan. It's been over a week, man. How did Christmas treat you? Did Santa get you everything you wanted, or did you get COVID like me for Christmas?
Man, it's kind of crazy, right? New year, new us, new everything. Jeez, man, goodness, yeah. Just not looking forward to the wave of sickness and flu season for the coming year. Get your shots, boys and girls. My goodness, take care of yourselves.
But yeah, no, like I hinted at, I got COVID for Christmas. That was fun. So I'm just coming out of COVID protocol myself. Before we get going, as a reminder, as always, YouTube, Twitter, Discord, feel free to follow us all on there. Discord, we got over 2,700 people talking about anything and everything. Like I was just in there a few nights. We were talking about how the Rangers are terrible. And then we got on the subject of Kinder Eggs and our favorite candy of the moment. And we also have, I know TJ is hard at work on some tools on the Five Hole website, FHFhockey.com. I know the schedule optimizer's on there right now, and then I know I love it. I use it myself. So let's jump into news around the league. Storylines. I saw an interesting factoid on Reddit. I didn't fact check everything completely, but I just thought it was interesting. And maybe it influences someone's pickups. Maybe it does nothing for you, but the Penguins finished the 23-24 season with the 29th ranked power play. They are currently 6th best as of 3 days ago. And I checked right before the show. They are currently the 4th best power play at 25.9%. And it's weird. It's crazy. It's not who you think it is, like on that top unit either. Like Matt Grzelcyk, of all people, QB. And I think that was even before Letang went out. I don't know, Jade, are we running out and grabbing anyone on that top unit? Because I'd say some of those guys are available.
Man, I was just going to comment back. I was going to circle back to Circler's comment about Santa stealing my hair. And yeah, I guess it's kind of weird to see, speaking of stealing, Grzelcyk stealing the Thunder on
of all guys.
One of all guys, that's the one. The thing is though, like even now, like when you mentioned that, I immediately like clicked around on Yahoo trying to like see. I was like, okay, like Grzelcyk is, and then that's the other concern, right? You're like, how the heck do I even spell this guy's name? And I'm checking
GRZ. That's all I ever
GRZ.
like. Yeah, that's all I ever need to spell, and usually autocomplete finds it.
And I mean, looking at it now, he's like free agent everywhere, like 7% ownership, like probably is available. It's also another one where I immediately want to see just how sustainable these sorts of runs are, right? Like sustainable, not just with him, sustainable also with like the team in general. Obviously, if the team isn't doing that well, it's really just going to eat into everything.
Dude,
like,
they're, I think 2 or 3 points out of a playoff spot right now. Like they've come a long way from the beginning of the season where it's like, yeah, let's drop Jari. He's sent to the minors, like abandon all hope, ye who hold Penguins.
For sure. And I think it's their home record that's really coming true, right? I'm looking right now and like their away record is still like they're below 500 and everything. But yeah, their home record seems to be really picking up. I definitely think the Rangers crashing down as far as they are is like the inversion, you know, like there's got to be a team within all those.
For someone to move up, someone's got to go down, and
sure.
Yeah. Next interesting thing I saw, Sam Oskevich on the Florida Panthers was practicing on their top power play with Barkov, Reinhart, Kachuk, and Ekblad. They have, which it looks like Verhaeghe gets the drop down then, but they have 3 games and 2 off nights next week, and then in the next 4 weeks they have 14 games with 7 off nights. Do we are we taking a look at this, Jay, or are we interested in picking him up as just give him a really short leash maybe? and see if he holds that spot?
Yeah, I mean, right wing's always so scarce, right? It says currently, and I don't know how accurate this information is, but it says he's currently still playing on the fourth line.
That sounds
So
right.
obviously he's getting like some really elevated, I guess, access right now with the BP1. I'm probably going to need at least not even like I was gonna say top 6, but geez, at least top 9 access, before I'm really gonna be dropping the farm on snagging it, right? Like it looks really juicy, obviously. Barkov, Reinhardt, Kachuk. Um, that's that seems pretty crazy. But I mean,
That's nice, but yeah, fourth line, it's gross. Like, but even on streamer weeks for Florida, like Luosterainen, Lundell, like on third line, still give you some value there.
100%. I'd probably target both of those guys before I charge on Samskevich, but for sure. I mean, the other part is in terms of access, he's literally 0% owned. So probably, I don't think either of the other two guys are necessarily unowned either, but I don't think I would default to Samskevich. That's just me.
Before we get into injuries here, we got Armin in the chat. Vejmelka just got dropped in his 16-man Cats League. It sounds like he's thinking about picking him up, but he's already got Skinner, Swayman, and Bennington. 4 goalies, too much. I would agree. Yeah, I would stay the course on his 3 goalies there, because I mean, maybe you drop Bennington, you got Swayman and Bennington getting that new coach bump right now. I don't think he definitely don't drop Skinner, because the Oilers, at the end of the day, are going to be one of the winningest teams in the league. I would stay the course. Keep what you have. Let someone else pick him up.
Do you think this is one of those plays where you could grab, I guess, like you could pick up Veg and then
hold him as a trade piece?
Trade one of the top 3 guys, because I think Skinner, Swayman, and Binner. I'm in agreement with you, Alan. I think I'd want any of that trio over Veg, but at the same time, I definitely think Veg, if he keeps that bulk, I'd be willing to kind of roll with it and then possibly trade one of the other guys to kind of shore up a separate position.
Well, another reason not to grab Veggie, I'll go ahead and skip ahead some in the notes. Looks like Connor Ingram has been assigned to a conditioning stint in the AHL. What that means as far as when he comes back, who knows? Ingram has been kind of less than stellar before he went out. I just don't. Veggie's sort of been performing better than his career numbers. I think they maybe stick with Veggie as long as he stays hot. And maybe Ingram gets like 1 out of every 3 starts, maybe more if it leans his way.
They were definitely a 1A, 1B for most of the setup, right? I think even the past 3 seasons, that was kind of what it was. I think it's just that whenever there was a guy that was hurt or hotter, they would split accordingly.
Yeah, and then moving on, other injuries. Austin Matthews was recently quoted as being unsure if he will be able to move past his mystery injury this season. I know he's been practicing kind of by himself, not really with the team. He went to get those, crazy hair plugs over in Istanbul, Germany, wherever. I don't know. Like right now, he's right around point per game pace. Jay, do we think this is maybe a buy low window on Matthews and he shakes it off and gets back to maybe like a 90-point pace rest of the season? Or are we staying away and he can be someone else's problem?
I have Matthews in one of my leagues, and I tried to entertain a trade for him in another one. I distinctly remember the other manager insisted that they needed first round value back, right? And I think the issue right now for all Matthews owners, like even on my end, like as the Leafs fan, I would just prefer to keep him and obviously have like the alignment of fantasy hockey and actual fandom, I guess, aligned. But in terms of pure fantasy value, the reality for a lot of Matthews owners now is that the trade I was offering was basically Philip Forsberg straight up for Matthews. And I was saying, I'm going to offer Forsberg with the idea that if the status quo of injury and health stays, I've basically just given you, I guess, the higher floor, right? In the guaranteed player that is going to play. Matthews has a way higher ceiling, but basically any fair trade needs to have that sort of window where there's I guess, higher ceiling on one end, lower floor on the other, and then the inverse in between. For all Matthews owners that are actually looking to trade reasonably and actually get that trade go through, realistically, that's the kind of player you're going to be looking to get a trade for. I think you can always try for a scam, but I think you're unlikely to get, for example, if I'm going to trade Matthews, I'm going to get like Draisaitl back. Like most feasible and reasonable managers will just not agree to that. The lower floor and higher ceiling that Matthews can have with like a Philip Forsberg type. I'm trying to think of another player, Alan, like maybe like, do you think Jack Hughes kind of thing like falls into that sort of category too?
I don't know if I'd want to give up Jack Hughes for a possibility on a 100-point Matthews rest of season, or on the season
100%.
or 100-point pace. I don't know. If this could be this again, I threw this out there like a week or two ago. If I could get like trade Martin Necas for Austin Matthews, like I would, if I was getting Matthews, like I would absolutely love to do that trade.
For sure.
I feel like that's, a guy I took after the 10th round to get, one of the top 5 goal scorers in the league. But I'm not running out to trade first round value for some Magic Beans.
It's really difficult too, right? Like I think at the end of the day, once you draft, the reality is I am looking at this point in the season, like it's pretty much almost halfway through the season at this point, right? We're nearing at least the halfway point. Around this time, your draft, I guess, stock compared to your production value and what you have shown in terms of like a 30-game base is not as like, okay, let me rephrase. Where you drafted the guy and what they have done for you is now leaning toward.
There you go. You can't keep attaching that draft value to, like the halfway point in the season.
It can't be done. It can't be done, right? Like at this point, you have a Kiefer Sherwood that has done so much night in, night out that just the idea and the dream of like, oh man, but I drafted that guy in like round 2. Ooh, like it just doesn't hold water that same way. So for any guy that has Matthews, I would always advise, first and foremost, like just stick him on your IR plus, man. This guy is like top 3 in the league. Do not trade him away.
I mean, whoever you pick up is he not going to give you that.
There's no other guy with the
value loss, but
yeah, there's no other guy that will get you the ceiling of Matthews, period. But the reality is, if you are in a league position now where Austin Matthews' absence is hurting you, you're going to need to target floors, higher floors, but you will have to target that higher floor with the recognition that your accompanying highest ceiling with Matthews will also have to be leveraged. You're
losing the ceiling.
And you're losing that ceiling, but that's what you have to do. And honestly, if you have to make that trade, it's worthwhile at this point. Austin Matthews alone is not going to win you your league. He might honestly lose you your league if he just sits in your IR plus and you're not able to do anything else. And maybe you need that higher floor and the other team can bank and profit off that potential ceiling. But the parts where like, I was getting trade offers where it was like, what was it like? I was giving up, the guy wanted Yossi and Forsberg and like, top bona fide goalie for Matthews and like some waiver wire plugs. It's like those kinds of trades just aren't going to be attractive enough. You know what I mean? Like if you are looking to trade Matthews and you need to trade Matthews, you're going to be screwed if that's your best offer. And that's what you are thinking is going to get, like an accept greed and a greed accept offer on the other side.
Moving on, we got a Kirill Kaprizov finally being placed to IR, retroactive to before the Christmas break, so he can come back anytime. He is not coming on the 2-game road trip, so he's pretty much out for the rest of the week. I don't think there's really any. I think maybe Marco Rossi. He's on that top line, but I don't think picking him up really gets you
2 goals last night.
I mean, if he's out for any length of time, though, does it get you like the same value that if you had Kaprizov? Because it's you still have Zuccarello, you still have Matt Boldy, but is Marco Rossi a 1-for-1 next man up on Kirill Kaprizov?
It's definitely one of those where like nobody wins when the best guy on the team is out. Like it's just there's no better line.
It's like the next man up is not always like the solution there. And then Shane Ghost Bear is he's going to be out for a while. They said longer than day to day with an upper body injury. It looks like they have Ty Smith, a call up from the AHL. He's seen power play one time. They just don't want to give it to Burns for some reason or someone else. He did have a power play goal. Are we running, not walking to grab Ty Smith? It looks like he's playing a similar role as Ghost Bear, about 12 minutes a night, top power play. Is this someone to run out to grab, or maybe wait and see, or grab him but give him a very short leash?
He had a 50% shot conversion rate yesterday, though. I mean, he scored a goal. Like he's not really like eating up riffs. I would probably say that if anything else, I do believe in the power of Burns in this case with Ghost getting out. But maybe even if I believe in the power of Burns, I don't really believe in the Brindamore blender enough to actually like put it like pedal to the
and that's
metal.
it's like, yeah, it's like is this one of Brindamore's guys that like he's just gonna get that top unit even if he's an anchor, or I don't know. I don't know if me personally, if I had the space for him, I'd grab him knowing full well that like that's my streamer spot. The second he gets moved off that top unit, he's donezo.
How you doing, PT?
And next one, from bad to worse for the New York Rangers, Igor Shesterkin is on IR with an upper body injury. I guess his back finally gave out from trying to carry that team. They've called up Louis Domingue from the AHL, and the Rangers do have a back-to-back this weekend. Are we running out to pick up Jonathan Quick like we would have last season or even the beginning of this season?
Jeez, like that team has really, really struggled. Like 2-8 over the last 10. I mean, Panarin's still doing Panarin things. Like that's almost scarier, right, Alan? Like the fact that
and they've been shut out a few times in that, I want to say, in that 10-game span, which is crazy. President's Trophy to lottery team.
Yeah, geez. I
know me personally, no, I'm not touching. I don't even know if, like I told someone in Discord, I don't even know if 2012 Jonathan Quick could help this team get back on track. And I definitely don't want Louis Domingue.
Yeah, I don't know if Shesterkin on IR is that move where, like, was he playing through an injury and now he's just resting it out, or was there something seriously concerning that just recently happened that led to them playing? This
the tinfoil. Oh no, because that could be another reason why he just signed the contract. He knew, like, yeah, I'm not going to put up like Vezina numbers this season. Like, why don't I just sign what's in front of me? And then, oh no, I'm hurt. I need to sit in IR for a bit. I don't know. I'm not personally interested in Quick or Domingue, even against the simpler opponents.
I think what PT said is an interesting one, though, in terms of one strategy, which is, yeah, indeed, grab Quick just to keep others from being able to have him.
Oh, because the Quick can tank their numbers.
And I was gonna say too, like, imagine grabbing a 2-8 goalie, like the goalie backstopping a 2-8 team and being like, God damn it, like if only I had the guy instead. And Frank, man, like, just to consider how bad they are. How in the world are they behind the Islanders? The Islanders, we've been laughing at them all season. Still ahead of them in the league and like on points, not on like, goal differential or like all that other division crap, like straight up on points. The Islanders are better accordingly in the league. Nuts to consider.
Moving on. We got Valerie Nichushkin left last night's game, lower body injury. No updates after the game. You got to think this gives like a little bit of a boost to the guys like Lehkonen, Colton, Drouin, who came back Tuesday night. But yeah, as far as because he was getting that top power play spot, it didn't look like they had a power play after he left the game, so it's hard to tell who slots in afterwards. But that's definitely one to watch. Another one, Jared Spurgeon, Minnesota Wild, left last night's game with a right leg injury. Was seen on crutches afterwards. Now he was running power play 1 recently. Now are we running back out to get Brock Faber? I don't trust any defenseman on Minnesota's power play. I don't know. Would you rather grab Ty Smith or Cam Fowler over trying to pick up Brock Faber if someone dropped him?
I mean, Brock Faber is going to be pretty hard to acquire, right? I mean, 85% ownership.
Okay, so some people were still holding.
Yeah, for sure. Dr. Spurgeon, the Sturgeon Surgeon. PT, where do you get all these like fancy shenanigans, man? That's hilarious. Okay, so guys I'm looking at in terms of D, yeah, so PT is an example. He's still owning Faber at the moment. I think Jonas Brodin is one of the guys I was looking at around 2, where he's just like, maybe you go in terms of available minutes and just go full, I guess, periffs. The other one I was thinking too, when you mentioned Cam Fowler, Alan, I was like, yeah, like there are other guys around the league that are just running hot right now, and maybe that's just your target. Like while you have Spurgeon stuck on IR plus, then just go elsewhere for a hot guy and just gun for it. While, geez, I'm even looking around too, like Justin Falk, right? He's still D2 PP2, 18%.
Well,
like,
okay, so all right. So since we're talking about the Blues so much, let me grab a couple of these chat questions. Armin is asking about the Blues power play last game. So I went ahead and pulled that up. It looks like it was like a 60-40 split, but Falk got the majority of the time with Neighbor, Shen, Kyrou, and Holloway.
sure.
Fowler was power play too, though,
And got 2 goals too. Yeah. Crucially. It's
they shellacked the Blackhawks. Like that game was on at the gym last night, and I'm like, yeah, I feel so bad for the Blackhawks, man. Like they cannot catch a break this season.
Come on, PT, you got to give me at least another 364 days to get my hot quote of the year, right?
But there you go, Armin. It looks like Falk is still top unit, and it was like a 60-40 split. Matt, buy low on Brock Nelson in hopes he gets traded.
Oh, God.
I'm a fan of those speculative ads, but I don't know if January 1st is the time to do it. Maybe like another month, like keep your ear to the ground and see like if he gets, if there's, because usually you hear teams that they're matched with, rumored to be part of, but I don't know what he does for you today on that, like just atrocious Islanders team.
I'm telling you too, man, like, I think any folks that are saying pick up Nelson with like the buy low mentality have not been holding on to Nelson's during this like time of need. It has been like crisis galore. That's the feeling for any owners. Like geez, how many points has he had in the last? It's just looked crazy. You know what I mean? He's gotten like over 16 minutes a night. He's gotten the time. He's done nothing with it, right? It's that sort of feeling where I'm looking more than anything. Like, is there any other manager I could sell Nelson to? Like that's my mindset.
Right.
More
is it like a throw in on a trade, maybe?
He's center only on Yahoo as well, right? Which really hurts that value. I think he's got left wing dual eligibility on Fantrax, but it's the thing with Nelson is his history really supports him, right? I think he's one of the only guys that's got like 30 plus goals in the past 6 seasons or something. It's like it's a really.
But if he goes somewhere, he's getting 3C treatment. He's not going somewhere to be someone's 1C, 2C. Most likely, it's if he goes to a contender, he's their 3C. Just give him a super strong shutdown line. Also, Armin I'm assuming he means Devontae is a drop now in standard Cats League with plus minus hits blocks. He's also got Middleton, Hronek, who's out, Connor Murphy, Luke Shen, Kyle Clifton available. None of those sound any better. Because Middleton and Hronek, I think, are still injured. Connor Murphy on the Blackhawks, if you got plus minus, no thank you, unless you're just punting it. Even Shen, I think you're taking a big hit in plus minus there.
Taves is just like he's in that same vein with like
the ceiling is too high. Compared to those other guys.
I don't want to like shit on any like Stars fans either, but it's like the same idea with Miro, right? Where he's just a very good real life hockey player that doesn't have the same translation into fantasy relevance. But yet at the same time, like he's one Makar injury away from having like, stonks through the roof, right? So I don't think any of the guys you listed there have that sort of upside, honestly.
Oh man. We gotta let's move on real quick, and
Sure.
we'll
Let's go.
get back to some of these. And I think with that takes us to the mailbag. As soon as I find that, there we go.
You've got mail.
Mailbag.
So first up in the mailbag, we got Rook on Discord. Thoughts on Zibanejad long term with his power play 2 demotion? God, you can't drop a guy like that though. It's one of those you just got to hold it through the rough or sell abysmally low.
I'm even going to say too, I've seen him dropped, and crazy enough, I have not seen him picked up after being dropped, which is nuts. I don't know what's more nuts, that I'm in the league and I haven't picked him up yet, or the fact that he was dropped, but he's been that bad, honestly.
Yeah. No, and I mean, like I said, I threw this out there a few weeks ago. I don't think things really get better on that team without some sort of major change, like a coach firing, a GM firing, a trade of some kind.
Worthwhile to consider for Armin's point.
Yeah, Armin had a very good point there. New York Rangers have the worst playoff schedule. I don't know what weeks that would be, but yeah, also something to consider too.
For sure.
So yeah, we're both down on him, but I mean, it's drop or sell for beans.
You can probably trade, right? Like reasonably, I think what Alan's mentioning too, I agree with, where it's like, you don't have to just eject immediately. There's it's worthwhile to tender him to other managers and see if there's that sort of reciprocal interest elsewhere. But Alan, is there a name we can kind of throw to listeners to kind of
ouch trade?
I'm even trying to think, like,
probably anyone who's putting up like a 60-point pace right now, or putting up what you would expect if you held Zibanejad.
Like, I'm trying to think, for example, like a player that I'm thinking that has let's say, I would imagine a lower ceiling than Zib. Maybe like, what do we think about like a Tomas Hertl? You know what I mean? Like, he's kind of stuck there behind Jack Eichel. He's going to be line 2 no matter what. But
power play 1 though.
Power play 1. You know, he could shift down if Dorofeyev gets squished up. Like, it's a lot of things are good for Hertl, but then maybe we could reasonably agree that when the Rangers are clicking and then Vegas is clicking, that I'd probably say Zib has the higher ceiling. But aside from that, it's tough, right? Like, who else would I really be looking to trade Zib for, thinking with the perspective that, you know, like, I guess you're trading him hoping away he doesn't come true as well, right? Like, otherwise, I don't even know. Like, I think no matter what happens for the Rangers, I'm with Alan completely that there is something stinking in the water, and it's a rough time. Like, you're looking at probably the next, I think if they have to turn it around and be relevant, it's got to come true in the next 10 games or so. Like, it can't be like 60 games in, and they're like, guys, we got to win. Like,
or you like make some big trade deadline deal, and like, all right, it's early March. Let's fire this wagon up.
Gotta win, guys. Gotta win.
They gotta start winning quick. And I don't know where that comes from, especially
it's got to come from Jonathan
Shesterkin out. As Swiss Cheese in the Discord, has the Sherwood cool off begun? Do you still hold in the 12-team bangers? Just a few notes I had. He's got 1 point in his last 4, 2 points in his last 5. The hits volume is still there. Time on ice is still same level it has been all season. His shot percentage is still redlining. I'm looking at a lot of his teammates and stuff. He's playing a lot of like third line minutes. I would say maybe hold through next week at least, because Vancouver is one of the 2 teams that has 4 games, 3 off nights. But after that, I don't know, any guy that's putting up maybe like, just 60-point pace, or maybe just keep Sherwood for the hits. But no, I would expect that point value to pull back.
The one thing I would say is that right now PD's out. Quinn Hughes is out. So you would imagine that if they need heavy minutes to be gunning out from any of their guys, right? Like, who's he competing with, right? Right now there's DeBrusk, Miller, Garland, Besser. Oh shoot, never mind. Maybe those 4 names already like cut out any value he's gonna be squeezed into. But you'd imagine that he's got to have some extra minutes with PD out at least. You think? I mean, who are they going to play? Dan
Maybe.
Hyden over him? I don't know.
Well, I think that's who is one of the guys that's
I think
getting
it is.
like
I think,
line
yeah,
two.
it is the guy that he's getting the minutes for
Yeah, no,
instead of like going talk it. Come on,
I
you got to
think
give
maybe,
our boy Sherwood.
he was hot for a minute. They gave him some top 6 minutes, but it looks like most of his time is with those third line guys. So yeah, and especially since the shooting percentage was already high, I think we can expect that point value the value you were getting from his points will diminish, but the hits are still there
For sure.
And then D Stu in Discord, when all are healthy, which D would you drop? He's got Jones, Wallman, Spurgeon, or Truba, Hedman, and Doughty. He's leaning Truba is a 12 teams Cats banger. So yeah, the ones that stick out to me are Spurgeon and Truba. Like looking at both of them on the season,
Same.
For me, I think Spurgeon is the drop.
I think so too, but I think he can probably reasonably.
Truba's got like the hits, the blocks, and that hasn't changed since he's gone to Anaheim.
I was gonna say more than anything, he's probably gonna luck out because if you have IR plus, like Spurgeon just sits there forever. That's like his second home. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna.
Yeah, because how many games did he miss earlier in the season with whatever it was? Like it's just that's why I don't know. Even when Spurgeon has power play 1, he's back. Like I just don't trust him because that power play just doesn't run through that defenseman at all, and he just gets hurt a lot.
And like it's actually terrible to say. And like for any listeners, if you're looking for extra gems, like one of the first things you should do post draft is like go to IR plus, like available IR plus eligible, and like look for suitable names to pop on. And I say this terribly, and like I'm sure Spurgeon's an amazing guy and everything. It's just I look specifically in IR plus eligible for Spurgeon's name to add to my IR eligible plus, but that's exactly where I always find him. So like I think Spurgeon's easy on the drop. I don't think he even has to drop him. I think he can just stack him onto the IR plus and he's good. But
well, that's a hell of a decor though for 12 man. Like Jones, 100%. Wallman. I'm sure you got Wallman for free, but like Hedman and Doughty, like oh god.
Doughty was probably forgotten about as well, right? With the injury early on. Yeah.
And then Paraterran giving us homework as usual. Keep points keeper, 10 team head to head, goals, assists, power play points, shots, hits, blocks, Natchez or Boldy, sell, hold, carry on. Natchez, I think the sell high window is closed for now. But Boldy, I don't know. I think Boldy's pacing around 60 points. This might just be who he is.
Boldy has got to be that, shut the fuck up and carry on as normal advice. It's got to be that one. Like, especially with Kaprizov out, doesn't Boldy have like absolutely redonkulous
he's got everything
stats with Kaprizov out? Like that's
top line, top power play, uncontested. No one's 100%. Coming for that spot.
It's got to be Boldy.
And then Armin's pointing out that Wild has one of the best playoff schedules. But Natchez, I feel like, now that he's cooled off a bit, I know I've personally tried to throw him in a couple offers, try to obfuscate things. But no, I would say the sell high window is closed if you were going to sell him high for now. But he could heat up again at any time. And then his next question, Voronkov and Monahan stack. Is it sustainable, unsustainable, sell high? Voronkov might be the guy you sell high in that line. Voronkov, Monahan, oh my gosh, Marchenko. Voronkov's kind of like the sidecar piece. I would try to sell him, but Monahan, if you hold him as a 60-point player, I would say hold Monahan of that line.
It also depends what you count in that league as well, right? Like, man, I'm looking at Monahan, and Monahan is like in leagues with face-off.
He's nuts. He's the guy that stirs the drink. Absolutely. Those are the guys that'll always pay off for you. But Voronkov, I feel like he's the most expendable on that line. Easiest to move. Like you could throw Kent Johnson up there, or when Chinikov comes back, like maybe he gets thrown up there. Yeah, I'd say Voronkov is the sell high.
Who do we want to target as a sell high
God.
for? You know what I mean?
Maybe a guy that actually could put up 60 points.
Oh shoot, yeah. Because I would even say, like, you could argue between Hurdle and Monahan. You know what I mean? Like, one guy gets the deployment, the other guy gets the team. Like, that's the sort of guy that I'm thinking about between the two. I'm like, I don't, I'm not entirely sure which side I would stand on.
I'm saying Monahan. He traded Monahan for Kadri. I don't
probably
know.
would
I
pick
feel
Monahan,
like
to be honest.
you might. I don't know what Monahan's riffs are like, but I feel like Kadri, you get obviously similar deployment on that team, but Kadri, you're going to get more riffs out of him.
Kadri's on power play 2.
Oh,
I'm missing that
ouch.
right. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, but their power play 2 is rather evenly distributed. Like, they still got Backlund, Coleman, Anderson. Yeah, okay. No face-offs in the league makes a huge difference for sure, Urban. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. That's split pretty evenly, it looks like. What was his next question here? Jamie, Ben, and Huberto, are they back? Huberto looks great. Ben's been steady production. Yeah, I'd say Ben's a nice hold right now because they've lost Sagan. And then Wyatt Johnson is also out for a minute. So they got to lean on someone. And I could see Ben being part of that. And I've heard Dallas has like a good schedule down the stretch. I don't know if that's necessarily playoffs. But Dallas seems to have a lot of good schedules.
They played I feel like they've played 2 games a week every single week so far. So I don't think
well, they got to make them up somewhere.
Yeah.
I would say, but I think Ben's still pacing for about like 55, 60 points. So if that's valuable to you, yes.
I'm going to tap on a bit on that Huberto one too. Like, I watched that game against like Vancouver. Like, he had a goal, and like on the scoreboard, it looks like whatever. I think it was like 0.4 seconds left in the third and an empty net. Like it's one of those where it's good that he had the hustle and the drive to get it for sure, but it's also not like he's sniping, top celly anyway. So,
but yeah, speaking of Huberto, like as far as being back, I maybe more for his career numbers than like what we expected with him playing on the Panthers. Right. Because if you look at his career numbers, actually like a 60, 70 point pace really isn't that much different than what good. He's doing right now. Yeah. Sure. But I really don't think unless Calgary makes some changes or someone wants to absorb that contract that has just that elite talent for Huberto to play with, I would say maybe 70 points is what we can kind of expect from him now. But if you took him like last round or something or got him off waivers, hey, that's awesome. That is free money.
I'm even looking at the team, right? Like who is the most talented player that Huberto can play with? Is it Kadri?
Yeah, actually, it might just be Kadri, which is insane. So no, there's no Alex Barkov or Sasha Barkov to bail him out here. He's but Huberto's just he's not the guy that stirs the drink. He's the assist guy
for sure.
But he's scoring goals. Last one from Parataran there. Dacord or Stolar sitting on his IR. What to do? He's got Swayman, Blackwood, Quick, Dacord, and Stolars. Yes, that is way too many goalies.
That's a lot of G.
I don't think. I really don't. I you know what? If I'm wrong, eat crow on it. But I really don't think you need Quick.
Trade Quick if he's really going for it. Like, see if anyone bites. If he's really feeling sad about it. I think Quick is just a red negative mark, and just.
Yeah, I think if you had Swayman, Blackwood, and Stolars, that is a very solid goalie trio. You would be fine with that.
Or throw in Dacord instead of Stolars, and that's still a pretty solid trio. So I
bet someone would buy Stolars,
true,
even injured. I mean, that tanks his trade value some, but I feel like someone would buy Stolars while he's injured right now.
People would buy him just because of the sheer amount of Leafs fans playing fantasy hockey. You might as well, 100% Stolars. Yeah, but yeah, quick, probably you got to move off him quickly.
Oh, but this I like this before we get into the actual weekend preview here. I like this question from Amon here in the chat. What to do with Verhaeghe? Their trade deadline was yesterday, which yes, that is ungodly early unless your season's ending like next month. Drop for another available forward or wait it out. With that demotion off power play 1, man, that stings.
Trade deadline was in 2024. That's early.
Rough.
That's early. Okay.
I know when I commissioned a league, I liked making the trade deadline for fantasy like right around the real trade deadline, so you could react to that stuff.
Sure. Get your money back from PT.
I almost think you just gotta hold. This is a guy that put up just an absurd amount of goals. How many goals did he score last year?
So if I'm going 2023, 2024, Verhaeghe had a 34 goal season.
Yeah, 34 goal season, 42 before that.
And Stanley Cup Game 7 goal scorer as well.
So he's about a point per game guy his last couple seasons, but he's only pacing for about 60. God, even at that pace, depending on how deep the league is, I still say you gotta hold. Like it sucks. Like I feel like he got the bag, and this might be a classic example of he's
also shot more than
quit.
He's quiet quit. he's definitely shot more than every other Panther on the team. So like he's trying to go.
Well, and here we go. I see the problem right here. His shooting percentage is only 8% compared to his career of like 14.1. So he's just snake bitten right now. I would say you got to hold. I'm not sure there'd be too many people on the wire that could absolutely do better than well, you know what? I feel like this is a guy, if you drop, you're not getting him back.
And the other one too is, guys, like, let's be real here. That power play 1, like, listen to some of the names, right? Reinhart, Barkov, Kachuk, Ekblad, Samoskevich. Like, there's got to be one name there that really stands out, and you can really see, like one name moving, and Verhaeghe backs back onto the power play 1. Come on, I shoot at 100% because I never miss. Oh man!
Before we move on to the weekend preview, this one from Armin here. Rank for rest of the season, so like the next 2-3 weeks. We got Olofsson, Voronkov, Neighbors, Duclair in a Cats league. Well, for me, Duclair is rock bottom.
Yeah, easy. Duclair.
Man, I tried to stash him in IR for a minute, but I had to drop him. And even since he's come back, he's just been very unimpressive. I think he's still in the wire in that league for me.
The Islanders I'd say terrible.
If you really wanted true rest of season, maybe Neighbors at the top. Then I want to say Voronkov. Olofsson's deployment is probably the most prone to change if Barbashev comes back. I'm going Neighbors, Voronkov, Olofsson, and Duclair.
Olofsson and Duclair have really low floors. Really, really low floors.
But Olofsson plays on a much better team. For sure. I know at one point he was getting looks on power play 1.
For sure. And I think the issue is both of those guys are pretty prone to free skates. And I think Voronkov and Neighbors are the guys that are going to produce.
I agree with Armin. Olofsson's probably less likely to lose that power play 1 than Voronkov. Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh, Dean Evanson's mixed up that Columbus unit a few times. Well, Armin, it's both line 1, power play 1 for Voronkov and Olofsson, but I feel like as soon as Barbashev comes back, whenever that is, Olofsson drops down.
For sure.
So let's get into the weekend preview. If I click on the right stuff there. So best schedules, you have Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. There's only one team that has that. It is Anaheim. Troy Terry, the guy you got to grab here. He's 22% owned. Oh my gosh. Jackson Lacombe, right? Is that his?
Yeah, Jackson Lacombe. Yeah, Jackson Lacombe.
I knew I should have put it in the notes. He's currently quarterbacking power play 1. I don't think I looked at his ownership percentage, but I know
11%.
Yeah, ungodly low. Ryan Strome, line 1, power play 1, and then you have a kind of, for me, it's like a dark horse pickup, maybe the sneaky pickup, Robbie Fabry, less than 1% owned, 6 points in his last 5. I guess, Jay, if you want to rank those 3 forwards, like what are we going with between Terry, Fabry, and Strome?
Oh, yeah, it's just got to be Terry, right? I think Terry is dual eligible. That's the big one, right?
Yeah.
Center, right wing. Strome is the other guy that's also dual eligible. I'm not really. That's like, man, I don't want to like shit on Fabry or anything. It's just he hasn't been healthy. That's what it is, right? Like the production hasn't been that consistent in the sense that
I liked his shot rate though. That's what makes me kind of lean like Terry, Fabry, Strome in that order. But
the other one as well is
I think Fabry is mostly like high risk, high reward.
I also see Strome and Terry both being on the PP1. So I think if you get both of them, you end up with correlative scoring, so to speak. It would be, I mean, that's the other part, right? Where do you want the correlative risk or do you want to diversify? I probably personally prefer the correlative. Like if there's a guy that scores on a power play, then you want another guy that might also have an assist, so to speak. I'm also going to go and say like Jacob Trouba is still only 46% owned. Like,
if you need riffs, Gudis and Trouba.
Yeah. Gudis 28%. Yeah, like, boom, you're sold.
And then Friday, Sunday, there's 2 teams that have those nights.
What do you think about the goalies?
I don't know, man. How did Dostal just? I don't think they blanked someone, but Dostal just goalied some team last night.
Let's check. So, yeah, the Devils were the ones that got stonewalled.
Yeah, they friggin' goalied the Devils last night of all teams. 3-2. Okay. Yeah, 9-4-1 against the Devils.
That's coming off goalieing Edmonton, which is nuts to say as well.
But I think Gibson's back. I don't know. I don't know if he actually goes anywhere this year. But Dostal, yeah, if you want like you need a 0G hero.
45% owned, might have to run quick to get him though.
So yeah, Friday, Sunday, Chicago. I'd say just go check on Seth Jones, 56% owned. He probably got dropped in a few places with his injury. Tyler Bertuzzi might be the guy you want to pick up. 8% owned. Line 1, power play 1. He's actually got 5 points in his last 5.
Fantasy unicorn Ryan Donato as well.
Yeah. Oh, was he like line 2 though?
Yeah, he gets
line 2, power play 1.
It's mainly for fitting him in, right? Because he can fit into 6 forward slots on any average setup.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Teuvo Teravainen. I mean, he's line 3, but he is power play 1. He's actually more highly owned than Bertuzzi, which is weird. He's 18%. Taylor Hall, 4% owned. For me, he's the pickup of last resort. Line 1, power play 2, but he does have 6 points in his last 5. I don't know. Can you think of anyone for riffs? I feel like Connor Murphy is the go-to.
I think I think Connor Murphy definitely is good. Felino, I think, is another good target. The other one that was coming around was, I know people talked about Seth Jones, but Alex Vlasic was also getting a lot of run, but I don't know if that run was.
I think with Jones back, they've get him top power play. Follow the money, man.
100%.
The other Friday, Sunday team is Pittsburgh. Just go check on Brian Rust, 48%. I don't know why he's below 50. But yeah, line 1 was Crosby. He's on that power play. Like we said, we're talking about is 4th best on the season right now. Michael Bunting, 12%, line 2, power play 1. He's got 5 points in his last 4. Also on that. Yeah, he's also on that top unit. And like we talked about the top of the show, Matt Grzelcyk, that's GRZ, and you should be able to find him that way. 7% owned. If you need a defenseman with that power play 1 upside, that's the guy to go to.
Sure.
I don't know. Is Ricky Rax out there? I think he was pretty highly owned. He was past just go check territory.
I think he was a 61. I'm just clicking. Yeah, 64%. He's a fantasy unicorn too. I think that's probably part of the reason why. I don't know if Malkin could be hanging around, but he's at 54%, which is kind of a pretty.
It's power play too.
Here's the thing though, that power play too is like disgusting in terms of like personnel. Carlson's on that line, like. I mean, sorry. I mean,
yeah, because I think it's like Malkin,
there.
Carlson, and some spare parts.
And spare parts, 100%. Yeah, I was gonna say Cody Glass, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should. Maybe I got really excited once I saw Carlson on power play too.
Yeah, going into goalie streams, you got a few back-to-backs. Friday, Saturday, you got Edmonton versus Anaheim at Seattle. Calvin Pickard. I feel like this is kind of a no-brainer if Pickard gets the Anaheim start.
Didn't Pickard just burn a bunch of fantasy
it's all right.
managers?
It's all right. It's all right. He'll be all right. He'll be all right. He can't lose them all. You know what, man? Jonas Johansson stunk early in the season, but now he's made some respectable starts lately. I think he shut out Florida.
Wasn't that Pickard burn exactly also against the Ducks though? Maybe it's a revenge game.
You know what? Yeah, there we go. Revenge game. You can bank on that if you want. Montreal is at Chicago and at Colorado.
All in. I'm pushing chips all in, Alan. Go.
Yeah, like you would pick up. Oh man, and I looked up I watched how to pronounce his name earlier today. Dobbs.
Yeah. You think me being Canadian would mean I know this, but you'd be surprised.
The call up, the guy that shut out Florida.
Oh wait, no, Jakob. Wait,
yeah,
he's not French,
Jakob.
is he? Jakob Dobas?
That might be it. Yeah. He's only 5% owned. I'm sure it was like people snagging him for that Florida start and then just didn't drop him. Yeah, against Chicago. I mean, shit, they won their last 3 against playoff bound teams, both Florida teams and Vegas.
Oh yeah.
So I would roll the dice against Chicago, but absolutely no, I don't. I don't even know if I'd want to start Montembeault against Colorado right now. But Nashville, you got they're at Vancouver, at Calgary. Eustace and Noonan's out there, 9%. I mean, I don't know. What do we think's the lesser opponent there? Calgary, maybe?
I mean,
and do we trust Nashville enough to give you a win against anyone?
I was gonna say, if you had on and in early this week, it would have made sense because they had 2 back-to-backs, right? So then you would have maximized, I guess, I don't know, you have maximized the back-to-backs, but I don't know if I would Pickard. I think is the big sellout standout of these 3, so to speak, so far. Although, you know what, Alan, I don't think I wouldn't take on and in if it came down to it. It's against Calgary, that team struggled. What was that joke that Guy Gaudreau made, right? When he was at Calgary, he was like, "Good on you, boys! You scored 3 goals. It's a real achievement." And it's like a serious slack on the truthful nature that they really struggle to score, and that's just been the struggle this year.
Yeah. So I'm not taking a Nashville goalie as much as I have to sit and just hold Saros right now. Last team, St. Louis versus Ottawa at Columbus. I would take Joel Hofer against either one of those teams, actually.
For sure.
I think Hofer's actually been the better goalie right now for St. Louis.
Would you do Hofer against over Pickard?
Yes.
Yeah, I probably would do so.
Oh, yeah, man. St. Louis, new coach bump going for him.
There is a goalie in Montreal that has never let in a goal in the NHL ever. But
well, hold on. Let's make the standard that they've played at least 3 games.
For sure.
So Saturday, Sunday back-to-backs. You got Boston at Toronto versus New York Islanders. Yeah, give me Corpy against the Islanders.
Yeah. Keep going with the other.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if that's the best of those back-to-backs, but I would, Corpy against Islanders. if you need to start. Carolina versus Minnesota versus Pittsburgh. I don't know. Tokarski. I don't know. Hurricanes have been struggling. Well, you know what? Hurricanes are good at home. These are both home games. I still don't know if I take Tokarski versus Pittsburgh.
He's got a pretty good win record, which is kind of surprising more than anything, right?
But I feel like it's one of those he's let in like 2 or 3, and they, Carolina has to outscore their troubles.
They've definitely. Well, let's see. So he's won 4-1, 5-2, and lost 2-5. So he's got blown apart by Nashville of all teams. But yeah, like I think his 2% ownership reflects reality.
Yeah. New York Rangers. As we talked about top of the show, they're at Washington, at Chicago. Quick and Deming, they're pretty widely available. I don't know, man. I don't want to touch any part of this team right now.
Definitely not Washington. Yeah.
No. Even against Chicago, because didn't Chicago blow them out like a week or two ago, like 5-2 or something?
I think it was the Blackhawks indeed.
Yeah. I'm just not touching them. And then Tampa is on their California road trip. They're at LA, at Anaheim. Jonas Johansson, like I said, fresh off of his shutout of the, oh my gosh, was it the Rangers? No, it was the Panthers. The Panthers in that home and home. I don't know. I feel like Johansson should get the win, especially since sounds like Gensel is coming back. JJ might let in 1 or 2, but I feel like Tampa should get the win against the Ducks. But I don't know, man. I feel like a lot of teams struggle with that, like showing up against the teams they should, and they blow out the teams that should be close with. I don't know.
I am not going to pretend like I know more about the Bolts than you, Alan. Like,
yeah, I feel like so far of these, Corpy might be the closest one to a sure thing. Or actually, here we go. Toronto versus Boston versus Philly. Matt Murray's back in the minors, so Hildeby is your backup right now. Do we trust Toronto to come out against Philly?
Hildeby hasn't played for half a month. Like it's the other one.
He's been in the minors, right? So they're giving him some ice time, but it's do we trust? I mean, it's like that. It seems like even without Matthews, man, that team comes out blazing night after night. It's the amulet power.
It's the amulet indeed. The other one is they all play differently. Every team plays differently when your star player is in and when your star player is out. Like I'm pretty sure even like the Oilers played like incredibly around Draisaitl even when McDavid's hurt. But yeah, I think Hildebeest versus Philly has all the makings of a trap game, but should be a win. Should be.
Next week prep. Best schedules. You have no teams with that Sunday, Monday overlap, unfortunately. But best schedules, like we've kind of strung throughout the show here. We got Vancouver and Washington with 4 games, 3 off nights. And then the 2 worst schedules, you got Nashville and the New York Islanders. 2 games, no off nights.
Brock Nelson stonks going down.
So there you go. We got asked earlier, pick up Brock Nelson. Not right now.
Not right now.
And this last question from Frank before we shut it down. Thoughts on offering Aho, Natchez, Besser, and Ghost for Brady, Tkachuk, and Montour. Currently first in an 11-team roto. Plus minus hits. Could improve shots and hits.
I mean, I'd make the offer for sure, but it's pretty obvious the 2 players on the other side are the better side of the trade.
I don't know. I just really like Ghost this season, man.
Brady Tkachuk is unmatched, right? Both Tkachuk brothers are just insane, like top 10 values.
Yeah, Montour is having a pretty. I don't know if you're first. It sounds like everything's working for you. I don't know if I do that. If I give up that much.
Oh, I definitely give that. I mean, the thing is too, it depends on how you view. Like, clearly you're in first place in no small part because Carolina was doing very well, and like 3 of the 4 guys you're looking at are Carolina guys. And I mean, if you're thinking of moving off of him, I'm assuming they've cooled down slightly. But yeah, if you can get Brady Tkachuk and Montour, I definitely think you'd be able to get some guy off the waiver wire that would be able to produce something similar and give you some stuff. I don't know if you're gonna get a bite on that trade offer though, but Alan, what do you think?
Yeah, no, like I said, I feel like this is giving up too much. Yeah, I don't know if I like giving up Ghost Bear to get Montour back.
He gets a waiver wire spot, doesn't he?
He gets 2.
Well, one guy's on IR.
Right. Yeah, okay, so a 3 for 2 trade. I guess Aho and Natchez. And then Besser goes straight.
It also depends. Like Natchez is classic example of like 23, 24. He's like a bum nobody, and 24, 25. He's like, like holy moly.
Yeah.
If you buy that upgrade, then yeah, it's quite a bit to give up like Sebastian Aho and Natchez. You're only getting Tkachuk back, right? So replacements are Norris and Zetterlund. Okay, so you're saying Tkachuk, Zetterlund, and Montour.
I don't know. Maybe the streaming spot you open.
Yeah, I think the streaming spot. I would not say Zetterlund is like a long-term forever, but if Zetterlund becomes that streaming spot guy, then maybe.
I almost wonder if he can get it done without Ghost Bear.
Right. Yeah, he's offering. Yeah, 100%. Can you just offer Aho, Natchez, and Besser?
Yeah, I would say keep that like as your Carolina has one of the worst playoff schedules. I didn't know that. But still, like what he's doing though is just insane. I feel like maybe you keep that card like in hand and then say, but hey, what if I throw in Ghost Bear? Maybe play it like that.
For sure.
But I just that feels like an awful lot to give up.
Giving up D, like bona fide D, is difficult, right? There are no waiver wires.
I mean, if Dunn goes out again, then Montour gets room to run.
For sure.
Yeah, that's gonna wrap it for tonight. As always, we thank you for listening. If you haven't already, to this, if you're not listening live, make sure to like, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review there. Guys, we'll be back Saturday evening for the weekend preview, and be sure to join us. It's Star Saturday. If you have any questions there, if you can't make the live show, leave it in the Discord. Good night, good mental health, everyone, and we will catch you next time.
Happy New Year, everyone. We will pick you up later.